Sorry, sir, for the disturbance. I regret for that. I hope you are now able to see this screen.
Yes, sir. No problem, sir.
Yeah. Now I am proceeding. This I am going to present one interesting case study how we helped a doctor in Sai Dental College using 3D print technology in solving this case of orbital volume analysis in midfacial fracture using 3D print technology. So this we got published in Springer also in recently. Let us see what is this orbital volume. Understand this. So this is a part of my UGC project and we have done in collaboration with SVS Medical College. Dr. Abhinandan was working with us. Let us see how this fracture happened. There may be any possibility that it may be due to, for example, sports boxing, especially when they're hit by the boxer, the other person may get fractured at this portion. This area is a very fragile region in the face. This is area is called zygomatic region, you call it as. So in zygomatic region, what happens is the bone is having lesser density than other portion of the bone, other portion of the bone. So what is the importance of this one is, you can see in the previous screen. So here the eye will be positioned here. This is called inside. If there is any fracture here, what happened is this eyeball will get displaced. So your vision gets affected a lot here. So because your eyeball resides in a liquid, which liquid is stored in this area, this is called orbital volume region. When the fracture happens here, now what happens is the eyeball gets displaced and your eye side will get affected. So what is the case here is, now doctor has to perform an operation in restoring this orbital volume. That means he has to open this portion and he has to join all of them. Like I will show you how you will join that also. So once he joins all of them, this will be fixed. So what here in this case is, it will take time to cure. So how is that operation the doctor successful? That I am going to measure using 3D print technology, right? So what we are going to do here is basically we are once you know these are the area various region which face you call it as, and you got zygomatic sutures. These are all different biological terms. I hope some of you get bored by listening these terms, but this is very important. When you want to work with a doctor, you should know all these things. So we started learning all these things. Myself, my students started learning what are all these nomenclatures, right? So, but I don't want to bore with all those medical terms. But definitely, this is the area which we concentrated here. So, what we have done is, in any human body, there is one called landmark points. That is called, for example, in this case, I am talking about four landmark points. So, this side of the face is called contralateral side. Contralateral side means it is normal. There is no fracture here. So it means I know this is the actual natural orbital volume of that person. For example, you got injury on the right side. The left side is there is no injury here. When left side there is no injury, I can measure the distances between the landmark points. So I can measure the distance between supraorbital foramen and infraorbital foramen. I can measure the distance between zygomatic frontal suture and mid-orbital, these points. So for without fracture, this is the distances between the points. That means I can estimate the what is the volume inside. Now same thing I want to get here. But what happened here? The fracture happened, so it got displaced. So before operation is done, after accident, I will select the landmark points here. Find out how much is the deviation happened here. So how much the deviation. So imagine this work you have to do with an X-ray. You don't have a 3D printed model. You want to do with an X-ray. It is very difficult task because X-ray is a 2D image. Then the 2D image you have to take and put in a computer dedicated software is there. In that you have to do that. But even in a computer screen also, that is a 2D image. So getting that exact location of that point is very difficult. And whatever they do, the doctor before 3D print technology was there, it is only an approximation and it all depends on the skill set of the doctor entirely. Experienced doctor can select it and do it. But a new doctor cannot perform operation as accurately as an old doctor because his experience is not that much high. But with 3D printing, any doctor with a little bit experience also, with a 3D model with him, you can exactly measure and do the process successfully, right? So in this case here, our area of concentration is on supraorbital foramen, infraorbital foramen. This is the description, midpoint of the superior margin of the supraorbital foramen. So these are the terminology which they use. So if for our sake, we'll understand these are landmark points. So who is going to select the landmark points? Landmark points are going to be given by the doctor, not yourself, because we are not studied medicine. He has studied medicine. You are going to make the 3D model and give it to him. He will select the landmark points and tell us this contralateral side, this is the amount of volume. That means without fracture, the best part of the unfractured portion of the human face, this is the volume. So we have to, after operation, we have to restore this one to that volume only. Then only you can imagine that your operation success. Now, let us see how 3D printing used in this case. So what is our main aim is, for that we have selected a 20 years old male patient who came to SVS Medical College, who got injury on this region. These are the live case studies. You can see this is the injury on his face. This you can see in this face, you can see there is a fracture, and you can see how the eye has got affected here, right? So now what I have done is I asked the doctor to give the CT scan image in the DICOM format. Then we developed the 3D model using medical imaging software like we have used in this case the different software. I will show you what are the software we have used. Then we 3D printed the skull using FDM 3D print technology. We have 3D printed the entire skull. That means the first in the first case before operation, we have printed the 3D printed the entire skull to know how the fracture happened before operation and compare it with the contralateral side. Contralateral side is that side where there is no fracture at all, right? So we compared that. Then after the doctor has performed the operation by understanding how the fracture happened, he has done the operation. Then after 3 months, again we collected the CT image of that particular patient. Then again here we produced only the fractured side after operation. That's portion only we have produced, because unfractured side already we got that. No, there will not be any change because operation is done only on the fractured side. That again we have taken 3D printed, taken CT scan image, printed 3D the part, 3D model of the part. Then we have measured that distances also the landmark points. So then we compared this with the previous ones and found out what is the amount of restoration happened. That's how we are going to suggest doctor, this is the way, this is how your operation is successful. So for that, what we have done, we are using software called DICOM. We have taken DICOM images from that CT scan images. Then we are using these softwares like Radiant DICOM Viewer, Invisalign 3, Blender, Autodesk Mesh Mixer, Flash Print, and Stravaton Maxillo. These are the various software used in this research work. So what is Radiant DICOM Viewer, how it is used, how Invisalign is used, I am going to present it to you now, right? Let us see how it is used. Radiant DICOM Viewer is a free open software. So I am going to tell you here some suggestions. If you want to do research in biomedical, don't think that you should have only Mimic software. Mimic software is very costly effect. You have free open source software also like Radiant DICOM Viewer. So we use Radiant DICOM Viewer. Already in our university we have Mimic software also, but we want to test using this open source software also how it works. So we have taken Radiant DICOM Viewer and we have developed that 3D CAD model out of this. Once you developed it, then see how that image appears. Then we use Invisalign, which is also another open source software. These are the various steps involved in Invisalign software. What are the steps involved? Let us see. First step, the medical image coming from the CT scanner consists of grayscale information. First, the DICOM files are to be loaded into the DICOM browser in Invisalign software. So we have browsed into the Invisalign software, done it. Then we have, after importing the file, you can, as I said, you have 3 regions when you import the file. You have axial, sagittal, coronal, like you have front view, side view, and top view. Here also you got in medical imaging also you got this particular terminology. So you got these things. Once you take the CT scan image, you DICOM format, you get these 3 views. Once you get 3 views, now my area of interest is only bone. So I will select the threshold value of the bone, right? So selecting bone as a preferred material, this is the threshold value of selected. As I said, threshold value is the value which is related to particular region of interest. So our region of interest is bone. So I selected minimum 226, maximum 3071. Then this I got this one in the 4th quadrant. It removed all the soft tissues, everything in the software, and only this region which correspond to the threshold value only grown here. So this is my region of interest I got here, right? So once I get this, I export this 3D and save it in .stl file format. So I saved in the .stl file format. Then when you save the STL file format, as I said, CAD biomedical models are all curvilinear in nature. So there will be definitely errors because you are converting an STL file. Lot of straight lines will be there. So you have to remove those errors. So you have to clean the unwanted regions, discontinuous areas. We use Blender software. This is again another free open source software using which you can remove these errors. So we remove the errors using the Blender software. Go to edit mode, present at the bottom, and by clicking Ctrl L, you can remove all those errors using the Blender software. Once you remove the blenders, you remove these errors using the Blender software. Then these are the various steps involved. Delete all those things. You can actually in my 3D printing workshop, which I am planning from November 2nd to 6th, our Atal 3D printing and design. We are going to make the participant to have hands-on experience how you do all these things using the software, right? So using these things, we are going to remove all these unnecessary things. Once we remove it, we get this final image. Blending software, we get the final image after removing those errors. But still, the surface is not smooth here in this case. Then I use Autodesk Mesh Mixer software I use and make this surface still better. That is, I am going to repair the errors and I am going to make the surface still better. Once I make this one still better, then I am going to send it now for my final printing process. This is Autodesk. I am using various steps in Autodesk for removing those, making the surface smooth and etc. Once I do it, then I export it to this my Flash Print software, which is the software which is dedicated to my FDM machine. Because before I print the part in the FDM machine, I have to properly orient it so that I can reduce the number of support structures. I can reduce the build time. I can reduce the amount of material consumed without affecting the surface finish. So these all things you have to do in the Flash Print software. This is the software which is attached to the 3D printer. So once I do it, I selected, I got different orientations in which I have to select here. Plane XYZ at 0 degree, plane X rotated to 270 degrees, plane Y rotated to 180 degrees. Out of these three options, I know the build time is 21 hours, 16 minutes for this one. And also the amount of material consumption is 41.52 meters. So I have selected this orientation and then I have put in my software. So you see here, the green colors are nothing but support materials that are there in the, when you build the part. Because if you reduce the amount of green, the support structures, what happens is you will be able to get a smooth finish. Because when you get the part out, you remove the support materials. When you remove the support material, there will be a small surface erosion happening here at these spots. So here you have to clean those surfaces, right? So if you have more support structures like this, automatically what happens is you get more such type of surface roughness on the object. So try to reduce support structure, but it should not sacrifice the functionality of the part. Support structure reduction means you should not make it zero. Then the part will not get built up. It will collapse. So there will be minimum support structure based on which you are going to select your part orientation, right? Once you select the part orientation, then you build a part and using the print, etc. you build a part using our FDM 3D printer, which is 140 by 140 by. It's a very small printer, but we have done a lot of extremely good work using this technology, right? And we have printed the part, right? This we have printed the part. All the parts was printed. Then we got this side. So this is the full scale we produce. You can see now the fracture here. This is the unfractured region, this is the fractured region. So once you get this one, then what we are do is the total build time is 24 hours, 23 minutes for this entire skull. Then we are, as I said, I want to compare my 3D model with the 3D CAD model. So 3D CAD model, you have a softwares like this, right? So in this case, we have done, we have used, as I said, after operation also. We want to see how that growth happened. So we produce what you call it as only the operated side we have produced again using the Go project lecture showing everything. We have taken CT scan image of this region. So once you have taken CT scan image, we have selected only the right side where the fracture happened to the right side. I am seeing from the screen. So this is the right side of the human face. So I produced only this part because the other side is already unfractured side is there. No, that nothing is required. There is no operation is done on this side. So I have taken this. We produced this one. We build a part again. It took around 10 hours, 11 minutes to produce the part. This is how after operation. You can see here these are called mini plates. Actually, we have produced FDM. No, this the fracture happened here. we have joined these two regions with the help of titanium mini plates. But when I produce in FDM, it becomes a ABS material. It is ABS material. You can see how that operation was done. After operation, see how the orbital volume. Now I will again measure the landmark point after operation using the vernier calipers or using your CMM, coordinate measuring machine. You can measure for more accuracy. Once you get this one, then I measured, compared this both of them and find out what is the restoration happened. So these are the landmark points which I have selected here. So using these landmark points, I measured. This is first before operation, contralateral side I am measuring on the landmark point using a digital vernier calipers, and then these are the various things I find. Then I use another software called Maxillio Stravaton software. Without using 3D print technology, earlier doctor used to use this Maxillio Stravaton software. This software they used to use, and it was very costly software. We have taken trial version of that, and we have measured again using these different steps. We measured those changes. This is we have filled this area. We got 27.0861 is the orbital volume of the unfractured side. Then we found out fractured side. How much is the orbital volume without doing any operation, right? So that also we measured here. It found 29.7710. This is after fracture. This is the amount of displacement happened. You see, earlier it is 27.0861. It is 29.771. This is the amount of variation happened here. Then after operation, again we have taken CT scan image. Again we measured this area. After, you can see here, this is the mini plates that are fixed inside, and this is the amount of orbital volume we got. Earlier it is how much? 29.7. Now it is 27.33. That means actual, what is the original volume? 27.0861. So after operation, this is the amount of restoration that happened here. So we waited for almost 3 months for getting this. So like this, we have studied around 10 case studies for this zygomatic, not one case study. I presented you only one case, because when you adopt a procedure, develop a procedure, you will not depend only on one case study. You have take 10 case studies. You have taken 10 samples of that accidents, and you have done the study. And finally, what we concluded is, from the above results, it is concluded that the orbital volume of the unfractured orbit, fractured orbit before operation, fractured orbit after operation is found to be 21.04 cc, that is cubic centimeters. That is unfractured orbit, that is original one. After fracture, this is 29.04. After performing the operation, then this is 21.69. See, it has nearly reached this original one, contralateral side, 21.04, 21.69. So the amount of restoration happened is 91.88%, which is a good sign of restoration. And the patient eye vision was restored almost to the original eye vision process, right? But we are able to explain to doctor, this is how your operation is successful. This is 91.88% is reached to that actual target level. But with the software, with the Stravaton software, we are able to see only 90.67% restoration. So this is how 3D printed medical models can be used to evaluate the orbital volume during mid-facial fracture instead of using the software. So this is how, because using a 3D printed one, you got 91.88, but using the software, you got 90.67%. So this is the amount of restoration that we got here, and it was very helpful. The patient is now happy, and the doctor also started changing the way in which he is doing operation, because he got result now from these cases. So he started adopting a different method in which he has to perform the operation, right? So you have any audience, anyone have some doubts, they can ask questions, please. Anyone has questions? Because I don't want to continuously deliver the lecture. I want to be more interactive. So if anyone has questions, they can they can put their questions, please. Anyone have questions, you can ask, please. Are you able to follow, or any doubts you have, please? Any questions from the audience? You can ask. Anyone?
Hello.
Yeah, sir.
If anybody has any doubts, please clarify. That will be an encouragement for the experts. If we don't ask questions, they'll not extend the talk, because if you are interested, then they will be adding some more points to you so that will be useful for you. Even the
But
classroom also, if the students doesn't ask anything, you will lose interest. It's natural for the teacher. Similarly, here also, as a teacher, you are supposed to encourage the expert by asking number of doubts. Please.
it will also, they also have some doubts, no, when they want to do research in that area, this will be helpful to them. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Proceed.
Yeah, okay, I am proceeding. Right, sir, right. But this is what the first case study. Let us see the second case study. Development of 3D printed model for cranioplasty surgery. This we have done